starving to death. Happy Sunday. We are making a good old Southern lunch. The first thing Chris is going to show you while I get out my flour, because we're about to make some biscuits.
Your microphone's on backwards.
Oh.
Can't tell if it's...
Sorry, y'all. Well then. While I make my biscuits, Chris is going to go over there and show you the pinto beans. I'm going to talk about him while he goes over there. The pinto beans are in our cookbook. I got 2 different ways you can make them. One's to soak them overnight, and then one is to use the Instant Pot. If you use the Instant Pot, when your Instant Pot goes off, the time that I tell you to cook it, you can see right now it's boiling. The reason it's boiling, my cat's fussing. The reason it's boiling is because it's on the saute. So once the beans go off and they're done, I like to turn on the saute button and it boils them for 30 minutes. And that way it makes a nice thick juice for your beans. Now I put a little bit of extra, I put some ham in them today. I'm going to use Southern biscuit mix because me and Chris are just going to have a biscuit for lunch. And so I'm not making a bunch of biscuits. And so it's already got the shortening in it. All I have to do is add buttermilk to it and get it in the oven. And that way we can get to cooking our pork chops. I'm going to make pork chops 2 different ways today. I'm going to batter 2 with some egg wash. And I'm going to batter 2 with just the flour like Chris likes. And in my recipe book, did you show them my recipe book for that? This is not shook good at all. Did you show them my recipe book for the pork chops?
No.
Go over there and just let them glance at that because it is going to show you that I have a tip down at the bottom that says if you rinse your pork chops, you need to put them in an egg wash. If you don't rinse them, then they've got fat on the outside of them and you don't have to have them in an egg wash, okay? The cats think it's time to eat because usually when I make supper, they get soup. And so they're both fussing because they think it's time for their soup. All right, let's mix these up real quick. So when you use, I'm just going to use this. When you use a biscuit mix, you just put the buttermilk in it. And then you just mix up, make your biscuits. It's super simple. And you just put enough buttermilk in there to make it the right consistency for a biscuit. Okay. That's about right. That's about right. Now you can put them out on the counter and cut them, or you can roll them however you want to do it. Today we're in a hurry. I'm going to put them right here and cut them out. You know, I didn't think that I was going to make gravy today, and I don't reckon I will. I don't reckon I will, y'all. I just wanted a biscuit with mine. Now, a lot of y'all like cornbread with it, with beans. But, honey, I like to sop up the juice of pinto beans with a biscuit. Just as good as I do cornbread. Matter of fact, sometimes I like it better. It's according what kind of mood I'm in today. I'm in the mood for a biscuit. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have everything out that I need. This is how Mama would have cooked. So y'all just have to excuse me. I'm cooking like Mama tonight or today. My mama never got out everything. I don't know if yours did. Everybody thinks for these cooking shows, you're supposed to have everything out. But let me just say this. When you're cooking in your kitchen, you can lay everything out to make it convenient. But my mama sure never did. Y'all tell me that. How about it? Tell me if when your mama got in the kitchen and she went to cook something, did she get out everything she needed before she got started? Because you know my channel is Cooking Like Mama Did. And I have to be honest, my mama didn't. She didn't. There's us 4 biscuits. That's plenty for, we're going to call this lunch and supper combined. Because me and Chris hadn't had no lunch either. All right, there we go. Just enough biscuits for us. I'll get them in here. Oh my gosh, I didn't know I had this on. Did you know that was on, Chris?
Yeah.
Why didn't you warn me?
Well, you do that.
I didn't mean it to be on high.
Okay.
Lower jaw. Sometimes he warns me and sometimes he
I
don't.
would never put anything on high ever, so.
Well, I know, but I didn't think about it. I didn't realize it was on high. Well, it's not too hot. It didn't even sizzle, did it? Whoa, I got my hands greasy. Let me wipe them off. All right, skillet. You're hot enough to fry a pork chop. So we got our beans going. I've got me some cream potatoes. I cut up my potatoes earlier today. You can go ahead and cut up potatoes for lunch as long as you soak them in water. They got to be completely covered in water. If you don't cover them in water, then they will turn brown. Okay? All right, let's get to doing these pork chops now. So I'm going to make 2 pork chops with a batter that has an egg. And then I'm going to make 2 just plain old pork chops like Chris likes. So we're going to salt and pepper them. Go over there and look at that recipe and see if I tell you what to season them with, Chris. Or I will. Put plenty of pepper on them because it's good on a pork chop. Good on chicken too. And everybody wonders why I don't ever flip the meat and season the other side, because I do extra seasoning on one side, and that way I ain't got to flip them and get my hands dirty with the meat juice, if that makes sense. Because if you get the meat juice on your fingers, then you got to wash your fingers off. All right, I tell you, steak seasoning, black pepper, salt, roasted garlic powder. I'm going to do one like that. Where's my roasted garlic powder? Sorry, y'all. A, B, C, D, E. There it is. Garlic. Oh, Lord, it's empty. There's about enough for 2 pork chops in it. Let me just get something else. I need steak and chop and roasted garlic powder. I need to fill up my roasted garlic powder. Steak and chop. There's steak and chop. We'll just use some steak and chop, y'all. I don't know where my roasted garlic powder is. So these are the ones I'm going to put the egg on and the extra seasoning. Check it on my biscuits. I want to make sure I got them on the right temperature. And I'm going to go ahead and turn them on convection, because we're going to want to eat as soon as our pork chops are done. And it won't take these pork chops long to get ready. All right, we're going to put our flour in here. Let's get it going. So you season your pork chops. Get you out some good self-rising flour. And you need self-rising to make a good crunchy batter on everything, on all your meats and vegetables. Anytime you fry anything, use a self-rising flour. The baking powder in it will cause it to be crunchier. If you don't believe me, just give it a try if you've never tried it. Now, my Instant Pot is going off because those have boiled 30 minutes. And that's what you want. And if you go by the recipe, they should just be perfect. All right, these 2 are going to go in the egg wash. Oh, you know what? I should probably do the plain ones first. Let's do the plain ones first. Chris likes them just like this, salt and pepper, nothing else. salt and pepper, and self-rising flour. The picture for the thumbnail, that's the way they're cooked. A real thin coating, but make sure you use your fingers and go all the way around it and get the flour on there good and give it a good coating. Okay, there's one. Here's the second one. And I wore my hair down, and of course I'm gonna get hot today. Y'all tell me if your mama had everything out when she got ready to cook, or did she just reach and grab stuff when she needed it like I'm doing? Because that's what I do. Now, here's the chop with the extra seasonings like it's in the recipe and the egg wash. And I give you a tip in there. You only use the egg wash if you really want to, really. But now, if you don't use an egg wash, you don't need to rinse your pork chops off. And a lot of people will frown on that, and they'll say, oh, they could have pieces of bone on them, etc., etc. But I ain't never had no problem with mine. Just make sure it don't. How's that? Use your common sense and make sure there's no bones on it. But I don't like to rinse them anyway because that extra fat on there makes it taste good. I gotta turn this down a little bit, babe. I don't need to be. You don't want to cook your biscuits any higher than 500 degrees, okay? And 500 degrees is a good temperature for a biscuit. 450 is a good temperature, but they have to cook longer, so they're not quite as moist on the inside when you cook a biscuit at 450. If you don't believe me, try it. Cook some biscuits at 450 and then cook some biscuits at 500, and you'll find that the biscuits you cook at 500 degrees will be moister on the inside. So if you want a moister biscuit, make sure you cook it on 500 degrees. Now, if you're new to the channel, I have started putting some shorts on. I don't mean I'm wearing shorts because I wear shorts almost every day. I mean, on the show, I'm starting to post some shorts, which are very short videos. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because it brings in new viewers. And so if you don't want to watch a short, all you do is don't watch it. But just know that that's why I'm doing it, and know that the other videos will follow. What is it, Chris?
I was just waiting on you to get oil in the pan.
Oh, I'm getting there. It's just taking me a minute, honey bun. I'm going as fast as I can. Y'all tell him, say she's going as fast as she can. Put you some grease in there. I'm using Mazola corn oil because that's what my granny used. Her doctor told her to use it back probably in the 60s, 70s, something like that. Probably 70s. And that's all she ever used. She lived to be 90, so that's what I use. I figure if it was good enough for her, it's good enough for me. I know one thing. If I could live to be 90, I'd be a happy camper. And I'm just going to cut off a piece of this and use it as a test piece. Somebody said everybody has a different opinion as to how they decide their grease is ready, you know. Well, a lot of people use something and just measure it. That's pretty hot, but I'm going to let it just get a little bit hotter. Now, these pork chops are thin. If you come on this side, then you're going to see that it...
You look at it.
Honey, look at it straight on.
Okay.
When he looks at it in an angle, see it's over to the left. When it's weird because when you're using a gas stove, seriously, it's according which side it's on as to how it looks lined up. So I try to, oh, that one's flour came off.
The other ones may be the same way.
Well, I can fix it.
Yeah, just put some more.
All four in there anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Big pork chops.
Yeah, they are. They don't have to cook a long time, y'all. So we'll get these started and then we'll fry the other ones. And I'm going to wash this off and we're going to reuse it. to put the other ones on. Put me some soap in my water. Now they're thin, so it won't take forever to cook them. Let's get some paper towels. Woo, I hope y'all are having a good day. Let's take a look at our biscuits. We got a lot going on. We'll have time to cream the potatoes. Look, they're already brown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let them sit there on off for just a second. We'll have time to cream the potatoes while we're cooking these chops too. So I think I'm just going to turn the timer on 1 minute, and then we're going to flip those, and then I'm going to time them for 3 minutes on the other side. Timer 1, start. And y'all can look at those while I get out the stuff to cream my potatoes with. We're going to use some sour cream and some butter. And possibly a little bit of milk. To me, if you're having pintos, you've got to have cream potatoes. You can't have any other potatoes besides cream potatoes. I think I might mix these up over here. There's a lot that goes on to making a whole supper, y'all. You can't just do it on a whim. So I'm getting the stuff out to cream the potatoes. We'll come over here and cream these once we flip these, okay? But we're going to flip those first. All right, let's flip them. Here's my flipper. Flipper, flipper. These flippers, for some reason, have kind of went up. That one got too brown. Let me turn it down a little bit. They kind of went, the prices went up on them. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in.
That's not ready. That's not ready.
What are you talking about?
It's got, you put it in the stuff, it don't have flour on it.
It does have, well, I mean, I can re-dip it if you want me to, but I don't usually dip yours twice. Timer. I might use 2 minutes at this point since I've been talking. Anyway, I can't remember what I was going to tell y'all. Now, Chris got me sidetracked there for a second. I have to clean up as I cook because if you don't, you just, you know.
You said that the pigtail flippers had started going up in price.
Well, the reason is because where they used to sell them individually, they're not doing that anymore. And y'all listen, if you try to buy one of those pigtail flippers, if you'll notice all of those cheap ones, if you'll go to the reviews, they don't show you any photos that anybody sends in because the tips on them are not $99, but the tips are not sharp like mine. So if you want to get one that really works good, you have to get this brand. Nobody else has this super sharp point. I'm not kidding. I'm not just.
It's crazy, ain't it?
Yes. There's one guy that started making them, but his are $42.
Good Lord.
And I think his has a sharp point.
Yeah.
But all of those cheaper ones that come from China or wherever, the points on them are not sharp. And this one is super sharp. And you want it to be sharp if you're using it in the house. You can still see the flour on the bottom of that, Chris. But I'm going to barely dip it for you.
Let us know it was sitting in that juice.
Yeah. There's that one. I mean, to me, these are ready. I think they're ready.
Yeah, they should be. I think.
I mean, you ain't got to cook a pork chop now till it's just, I mean, a lot of y'all want to, but.
They're pretty thin anyway.
I'll let that one get a little bit browner. I turned it down, so. Oh, I got to get my biscuits out before they get too brown.
Just right.
There's my timer going off. So really that thing's done. All right, you're going to see a big difference in how these two look compared to the two that are just real thinly. I'm not going to double dip that one. That are just real thinly made. Crap, now that ain't hot enough. You got to regulate your heat constantly when you fry something. That's what people have the hardest time with when they fry chicken or whatever it is regulating the heat, because once the oil heats up, it gets hotter at a lower temperature, and you wind up having to turn it up and down, but you got to watch it. Now, if you've got electric, you pretty much just know your numbers, and you're like, oh, I fry everything at 5 or 4, you know. And Mama always had electric. Granny had electric. But I really like my gas stove. We're going to put a little butter on these biscuits. We're about to have a good lunch. I know it's taken a few minutes, y'all, but it's a grand lunch. And you know what? If you went out to eat and you waited on a good dinner out in a restaurant, you'd probably wait this long if it was really good and cooked fresh and they weren't just warming it up. All right, I'm going to drain these. I'm going to set them over there to cream, and then after I do that, we're going to flip those. I just tilt the thing. Now, I don't know if you can grab your pot like I can after it's been on the stove, but don't grab it if it's hot. Mine's not. Let me just look and see how this looks on the bottom. Which one did I put in there first? Do you remember? Was it this one? Yeah, it looks good. Is that brown enough for you?
Yeah.
Heat's coming up now. Mm-hmm. Turn it down just a hair. Turn off this fan. We're about to make a plate, y'all. Let me just go ahead and flip this, and then we'll be done after we cream these taters. Now, you can really tell the difference in those two chops and the other two. Oh, I got to get something to mix these with. I don't think I've ever mixed up my potatoes and not been in the sink, but my sink is full. Today has been a busy day, y'all. And so I don't want to do it in the sink because it's full. I usually do it in the sink because it can splatter. All right, there's our, let me cut this up a little bit. Our butter. I put in a little sour cream. I put in a little salt and pepper. Now, Mama never used sour cream. I don't even think my mama bought sour cream back in the day. You know, it didn't get popular till we got older. And of course, I'd never had a doggone, what do you call them, avocados? Well, I'd never had one of those. Salt, pepper. And if you've been cooking long enough, you can just put it in there. You don't have to measure it. But if you want a perfect recipe, you can find the recipe for creamed potatoes in my book with the right amount of everything in it to make them taste dreamy, okay? And use a mixer because it just makes it taste so much better. But you got to make sure and boil your potatoes until they're absolutely fork tender. If you don't, they're going to be lumpy. Another thing is you can't use an older potato. If you use a potato that kind of feels rubbery, they'll turn out sticky. A lot of people think that you get sticky potatoes from mixing them up different ways, and that's not true. The main thing is that you can't use a rubbery potato, and you can't mix them when they're cold. They have to be nice and piping hot. So if you cook them ahead of time, you got to bring them up to a hot temperature before you cream them, or they're not going to taste good. All right, let's get our meal ready. Out of here. Woo, them are hot. I got yours burnt. It's good though. All right. Woo, that's hot.
May have to turn on that fan.
Yeah, I might have to turn on my fan, y'all. Before we turn on the, well, for heaven's sakes. Before we get the thing going off. All right, let's get this over here. Pork chops. Look, that one's, the grease just lays on the top of them. Now, if you don't want them to look greasy like that, you can just pat them with a paper towel. It really does make them look prettier. Let's make us a plate. Let me pat them a little bit. Especially if you're cooking for somebody. You want to just pat them and make them look, you know, pretty. I can guarantee you one thing, they're going to taste real good. They'll taste real good.
You know, we got some people asking what we do with the leftover oil.
Get rid of it. If I fry meat in it, I pour it up in a plastic container. It's that simple. All right. When you make my pintos and you turn on the saute button, I want them to look how pretty these are. I'm going to pour them up so they can see them. They are so pretty. Now, my pinto bean video is real popular right now. They're really showing it. And I can't remember if I make it in the Instant Pot or not. But I have people saying that I don't know what I'm doing, of course, because I use bouillon or broth instead of just water. And let me tell you, if you want a good pinto bean, you need to try my recipe. But I will say that if you use the bouillon, use less salt, okay? Because the bouillon is salty. But look at them. See how nice? This is right out of the Instant Pot. You just cook them on the multi-grain setting. I put black pepper in them. That's some ham. Now that is like, you know, like the ham you eat at Christmas, ham. That's what I like in beans. I don't like bacon. And I don't like stuff like that. I'm trying to think of what I want to do next. I like that kind of ham only in my beans and stuff, greens and beans. I don't like the taste of the other. Now, that's because that's what my mama used. So if your mama used bacon, you go right ahead. But that's not what I use because my mama didn't use it. And I cook like my mama did. All right, we're going to make a plate. I think I'm going to get a white plate. It's Sunday. We'll get the Lord plates. It's the Lord's Day. You want your beans on your plate, Chris, or you want me to put them in a bowl?
Plate's fine.
Plate. All right, here's the potatoes. This is just 2 potatoes that are baking potatoes, and that's how many they made. I say 1 medium potato per person if you're wanting to know how much to cook. There's the beans. You want a little piece of ham with yours?
Nope.
No? There's your biscuit. Mm-hmm. And Chris likes this type of pork chop that is the single and doesn't have the egg wash on it. That's what he likes. Okay? So that's his plate right there. Don't it look good? Mm-hmm. And I'll cut a piece and bite the pork chop, but I need to make a plate for a picture. So I'll just cut a little bite of this one, give it a taste for y'all, tell y'all how good it is, and we're gonna let y'all go so we can eat while it's hot. There it is.
You need to try that other one too, so you can tell them
Oh my goodness, it's good.
the difference between.
Oh, it's so good to me. Salt and pepper and flour. Now, I'll taste this one. I want to save one for I guess that one. I'll taste this one. This one had the extra seasoning on it and the egg wash. They're both really good, but I can taste the seasoning on there. I can taste the steak seasoning on there. I like it, but me and Chris have our favorite with pork. It's salt and pepper. That's just our favorite. So I would pick the salt and pepper one over the one with extra seasoning. But now if your man or you like a lot of seasoning, you season them pork chops, okay? But we just like the flavor of the pork chops, so we just like salt and pepper. And these pinto beans. Are absolutely delicious. You can't beat them. I hope y'all have enjoyed watching our Sunday supper. I know it was wild. It took a little while. How long have we been on here, Chris?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. But if you sat down in a restaurant and they brought you a plate that I made you, oh, you would wait 30 minutes. We'll see you next time on Collard Valley Cooks. Cook it like Mama did. Bye, y'all. Love ya.